Welcome to Thez Nutz Garage, and today we're back out here working on our 94 F-150, and this is going to be part 3 of the engine swap videos. Alright, like I said in the intro, what we're going to be doing is finishing up our engine swap on our 94 F-150. Now this is probably video 3 or 4 of this series, and what we're going to be doing is just wrapping this up. Now in the first day, what I did was, and in the videos, I'll put the links up here somewhere in the description, I just basically took the engine that's in the truck now and I kind of freshened it up a little bit, put some internal parts on it, put some new gaskets on it, and got it ready to drop in here. Now yesterday, I think I worked on this truck about 12 hours, and I pulled the engine out of it. And then once I got the engine out of it, I started getting everything ready to put the newer engine in the truck, or new to me engine in the truck. Now it's just me by myself, and if there would have been 2 of me, I could have got this done in twice the time, just because when you're trying to set the engine down in the truck with the transmission already in the truck, like I said in a previous video, my cherry picker, the boom on it isn't really long enough, so I had to basically disconnect the transmission from the mounts and slide it a little bit forward and get the angle on the transmission up to match the engine and smush them together, pray to the engine gods that they would have mercy on my soul, and they did. After about 2 hours, I finally got everything lined up and bolted up and got the engine set down in the truck. Now, everything on the bottom side is done, starter, exhaust, all that is done. So what we have up top is, I've already got my pelham in, I've got the AC compressor, I've got my alternator installed. That's pretty much that. I also have some electrical stuff I need to do, like my alternator wires. I have some battery cables I need to clean up and redo, so that way they'll it's kind of a mess. It's a mess. So we don't want to look at that. So just have a few odds and ends to do, and once we get all that done, we'll get our radiator installed, get all the fluids topped off, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start cycling the engine over without it trying to start it. That way I can get some of the new oil to pump through the engine, get it all lubed up, and be ready to go on that. Yeah, I think that's about what we got left to do. So let's stop talking about it and get busy on it. And what I'll do is in between each time I get a certain part done, I'll just come back and check in with you and show you what I'm doing, because this isn't really a how-to video on installing this, because there's just so many things that you have to do. And I'll just check back in and show you, give you an update on what's going on. Alright, so now what we're going to do is start filling our truck up with its fluids. First, I'm going to start out with our antifreeze. This is just green old antifreeze. I've already got it mixed about 50-50. So that's 50% water, 50% antifreeze. I've already put about a half a gallon in here. So what I'm going to do is put this gallon in it. And see how much more it'll take. I'll probably go ahead and mix up me another gallon, so that way when I get the truck running, I can add to it if I need to, which I'm pretty sure I will. All right, so what I'm gonna do is mix up another gallon, half 50-50, half antifreeze and half water. All right, so the next thing I need to do is put our new oil filter on. And what this is going to be is just a Ford Motorcraft FA or FL1A filter. And this is just some cheap Quaker State 5W20 oil we're going to be putting in the engine. I think this is 5 quarts. So what I'm going to do is put all 5 quarts in the truck, and then I'm going to let it run a minute. And then I'll, once it gets running and all the fluid circulate, I'll go back and check the oil and top it off. Now this is going to be some oil. I'm going to put about 200, 300, 400 miles on it, just enough to flush the engine out. But what we'll be doing after that is we're going to be switching this truck over to an AMSOIL product. And we're going to start out, I'm going to just call the good, better, and best AMSOIL that they have on the market. We're just going to go with the good at first. And we'll just probably get a standard Wix filter that goes with it. And then we're going to be working our way up to the premium AMSOIL motor oil. And this engine, like I said, has 144,000 miles on it, and it's just a test engine. We're just trying to see if it runs different by putting it in it. If we put the AMSOIL in it and it doesn't sound right or I don't like it, I can always just go back. So be watching out for a future video where we change this engine oil over to use AMSOIL products. Now, AMSOIL is kind of partially sponsoring us with this stuff, and that is Eagle Lubricants out of Texas. And I know Robert, he'll see this video, he'll comment down below, and if you want to get a hold of him, you can to get your order in. And down here at the bottom of the screen, I'll put a promo code, so that way when you go to their website and you order something from their website, what it'll do, it will give Thez Nutz Garage a little bit of points, so that way when we go to order oil and products for our builds, that kind of helps support us in a way, and it doesn't require that you go out of pocket any extra money to support us. So just use that promo code and I greatly appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get this oil put in the truck. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about a little bit of oil in this filter. I'm going to put a lot, just enough to get the, as we call here in the South, just wet its whistle. So now what I'm going to do is just pour the rest of the oil in here. I did drain the oil here this morning, what was left in the engine, just to get all of those, because I was spraying some PB blaster on parts of the engine and then just trying to help get the rest of it out of it. So we did that this morning. Now we'll put our oil filter on, and it's basically just right down here. I can reach it with my hand. Always make sure you seal up the seal here, put a little oil on it. All right, so we got our oil filter on, we got our oil in. So now all we have to do is just put our cap back on it. Now the next thing we'll do is we'll going to add a couple of quarts of transmission fluid to the transmission, because when I was pulling the engine out, a little bit of the transmission fluid went out on the floor. I'm only going to put about a quart in it, and then once the truck gets to running and idling, I'll go back and fill that up. All right, so we have the engine completely installed. I've got pretty much everything hooked up. Serpentine belts on, I've checked my fluids, my antifreeze, my oil, my transmission, power steering fluid. Got my battery hooked up over here. I'm gonna have to do something about this terminal right here. I'm gonna have to fix it the proper way. So right now it's just fixed. So what we're gonna do now is turn the truck on, let the fuel pump cycle a few times since we had the fuel lines disconnected. Also let it do it 2 or 3 times and then just let it sit forward, so that way we can hear if we have any fuel leaks or anything before we go to start it up. And after we do that, I'll turn the engine over 3 or 4 times, maybe 5, 10 times, just to allow the oil to start circulating through the engine before we do a cold start on it. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to turn my fuel pump on and just listen for any noises. I'm looking back here and listening because that's where those quick disconnects are for the fuel lines. I looked at them, they're not leaking. Looking down my fuel rail, make sure there's not anything leaking around any of the injectors. I'm gonna cycle it a couple of more times, and then we'll Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just let it kind of turn over about 6 or 7, 8, 20 times to let this oil start circulating through the engine. Make sure everything is locked down. So turned it over quite a bit. What we'll do now is I'm gonna plug my coil wire back up and then we'll do a cold start. I'm also hoping that this thing runs right because on the back of the engine where those emissions were, that emission thingy-majigger, it wasn't all there. So I'm gonna have to go back to the truck that was wrecked and get that other piece and get that routed properly. But I'm hoping it doesn't cause the truck to run real bad or anything. So let's go around here and get us a cold start. Alrighty, so let's fire this thing up. And fingers crossed that it fires up and doesn't explode. Well, it started up. Sounds like I got to tighten up one of my exhaust manifolds over there and pull it out and kind of go through it, make sure everything's all right. And I think that part of that emissions tube maybe kind of making it idle kind of funny there. But I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the like button down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that now if you don't mind. Every subscriber counts. And comment down below if you've ever done this kind of project before. I did it within the weekend and could probably get this exhaust tightened up and drive it to work. But I guess that's going to be a wrap for this video. But then the next series will be where we're taking a 302 and breaking it down. Actually, Cleveland Ford will be doing that. But he's going to take it, break it down, and rebuild it on a budget. So that would have been one option we'd have had for this truck, is to buy its salvage motor and then rebuild it and stick it in this truck. So that's going to be it. Y'all have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next video.